people, welcome back, and today I'm going to show you guys how to open the Raspberry Pi 500 and also how to open the Raspberry Pi 500 Plus. And again, this is a brand new device that was released in September 2025, but I think I want to do a comparison just to see what differences are. This is obviously a larger device externally. I am making the assumption that internally the boards are going to be more or less the same boards and they've added a few bits and pieces here and there. So let's go. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try and open the side. So sorry about the table not being painted yet. Brand new table I built with my dad, not ready, not fully completed yet. I'm going to use one of my opening tools. Can cut out that part, yeah. I've got these really old ones which I got from fixing mobile phones years and years ago. They're a bit damaged, but they might be able to, if you're doing this as well, you might be able to go in from the right hand side or from the left hand side. Now for me, I've already opened the right hand side slightly, but I haven't gone in yet. You can use one of the metallic ones. I'm going to show you a metallic one I have, which is this one here, this one here, or you can probably use something like this as well. I would not recommend the metallic ones because if you're like me and you like your devices looking pristine, it might damage the sides. I would keep trying with the plastic ones. If that doesn't work, then maybe you go up to a metallic one. Now, based on what I can tell, there are no screws here at the bottom. Everything is held in by clips. So that's why I opened this clip here on the right first. So hopefully you guys can see that clearly. Scrap what I said before. I might have to go in with a metal one. These clips are really held tightly in place, so I'm going to use this one instead. So I'm just going to do that, going around the device and unclicking wherever I can. Corners are going to be a bit tricky, so that's where I might get the most damage. That's a bit scary. That went in a bit too far, but let's see if I can continue. There we go. Alright, so I finally managed to unclip all the clips. So what I'm going to do now, I looked under there earlier without the camera being on, and I see there seems to be a ribbon cable that goes from the keyboard, the top here. That's the ribbon cable there. So what I need to do is to unclip that ribbon cable. So I should be able to do something like this. Lean it forward. You might see my head in the video, my apologies. And then this black clip here, I'm going to try and zoom in on video. That black clip there, I simply need to lift that up. Once you lift it up, the keyboard comes loose. At the top here, the three LEDs on the keyboard link to some LEDs directly on the main board. So the keyboard is a self-contained unit. You can pull this off, you can replace this if it gets damaged. I'm thinking people are probably selling some used ones on eBay. So if you need to fix it, that's how you take it off. Unclip the black clip here and pull the ribbon cable out. Now I can see 1, 2, 3, 4 screws holding this metal plate down, and this metal plate is the heatsink. It seems to be the heatsink. Because this is passive cooling, it doesn't have a fan, so they put a big heatsink on there to pull the heat away and dissipate it across the board. So I'm gonna grab, that one's a bit too small, try this one. Yeah, that one's good. What you want to do ideally when you're doing these things is the bit of your screwdriver, I can't even read what this says, my eyes are that bad, but the bit of your screwdriver is supposed to be fitting in that slot in the screw, so it barely moves or doesn't move at all. I'm gonna clip this on. This is an iFixit kit, by the way, but I'm not sponsored by them. I bought this about 10 years ago and it's still going strong. Let's unscrew this, put that one over there. The good thing about the iFixit kit, and again, I'm not sponsored by them, is that it comes with a tray that is separated. Ideally, I would want to have a magnet plate, but this is probably the second best thing. So that's my SD card there, and my screws are going to go in here. I'm not entirely sure how to pull this apart. There is some pad here that goes across the cooler directly onto the Ethernet port. So what I might do is simply break that or lift it up. Let's see if I can lift it up quite easily. Yeah, that's not too bad. Damages it, but it's not too bad. So that's lifted up. So that's separated. And how do I get it out? No idea. I'm going to lift it from the back, then try and pull it away from the cutouts at the back. Before I go any further, I've noticed here that there seems to be an M.2 section. So there's 2230, 2242, 2260, and 2280. So I'm making the assumption this is a section on the Raspberry Pi 500 Plus that they've put the SSD, because the space is already here. The cutouts are there, the screw holes are there. All they would need to do at this stage is simply put the connector in, which I don't see one at the moment, but there might be one down on the board. Put it there, solder it in, and you're good to go. I'm going to try and lift from over the GPIO pins. I don't want to put any pressure on any of the other ports because the GPIO is probably the one thing I could do without on this board. So if it does get damaged, I'm not too worried and I can always try and solder those back. So what I did, I used one of these tools. Hopefully you can see that clearly. Then I put the bottom of it, so the base of it, onto the GPIO black bit there, and I just lifted it and it just came apart. You will hear some pulling sound like the adhesive under here, which I'm guessing there is some adhesive. It's pulling the plate down, but other than that, it seems to be off. Okay, yeah, I can see some thermal stuff holding it down. There we go. So that's what was holding it down. It does seem to be making good contact, but what I'm gonna do is probably use one of my old ones. So I have some here. They're very old. But to be fair, they're thicker than this, and I'm not sure if I should use it or not, because that seemed to be making okay contact. I've never had any issues with overheating, but I don't know what I should do. What I'm going to do, I'm going to try peeling this off, putting it down to one side, and testing with what I have to see if that will actually fit properly and give it good enough contact. If not, I'll just put this back. But you can get this stuff from eBay, Amazon quite cheaply. So if you do ever have to open yours, you can. What I've done is on what seems to be the aluminium frame, I've pushed down one of the cooling pads I had. So I'm going to use both of them. I'm going to use the one that's there and this one and see if that causes any issues. If it does overheat, I can always just take this one off. But I think I'd rather have a thicker pad here that spreads the heat a bit more, and that should be good. Now on here, as I said before, I can see here that they have an M.2 section. So right below where the keyboard cable was plugged in, there's a section for M.2s, and again, it was 2230, 2242, 2260, and 2280. They seem to have the pins already soldered on the board. I haven't taken the board out to look behind it. I don't think I need to do that. I can see the pins here at the top. I'm making the assumption that the SSD in the Raspberry Pi 500 Plus is going to be the Raspberry Pi SSD. I don't remember the size of it, but that tells me that I can change that SSD out to any size if they've threaded these holes. So if these holes are threaded, I can take the SSD out, I can put a bigger one in, a smaller one in, and everything should just work fine. What I'm going to do now is leave this open, put everything to one side, open the Pi 500 Plus, and compare both of them. Okay, so here I have the Raspberry Pi 500 Plus. This is the new one again. At the back, this time we do have some screws. I did look at this earlier. We do have some screws. I don't know if there's a screw under here. I'm really hoping that there isn't, because that means I'm going to have to pull that sticker off, which I don't want to, and get to that screw. So what I'm going to do first is take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws out, try to try to lift the clips at the side. If it does lift, I'll try to do this one first. If it does lift, then I know I should be okay. There seems to be a tiny lip here as well, which gives me the impression that this is where I'm supposed to open it from. Yes, one clip has been undone here at the very bottom. Alright, so just like before, I'm going to make the assumption that there's a ribbon cable somewhere. Oh yeah, this has a longer ribbon cable. This is perfect. So the ribbon cable for this one is here this time. Here it is. So I'm going to unplug either one of these, and then the SSD is right there. So I was correct in saying that they used exactly the same section for the SSD. You do still have all the same sizes that you can fit. And actually, let me just take this off first. That's probably the best bet. So let me unclip from here, because I might take the cooling pad off. Just going to lift up the black thing that's holding the ribbon cable down, then pull the ribbon cable out. If it doesn't come out with a very slight tug, then you try again. So that's the ribbon cable out. And again, this keyboard does come as a standalone thing, and because this is a mechanical keyboard, you can replace individual keys at the top. So if it does get worn out, if it does get damaged, if you lose one, for example, you should just be able to buy them from Raspberry Pi directly, and you should be able to replace them. So I've tilted that up just so I can get rid of the glare coming from the light. This looks more or less the same as Raspberry Pi 500, but the only difference I've noticed so far was the size of the ribbon cable for the keyboard. They made it significantly smaller, and they made the cable longer as well. On the right hand side here, I have my Raspberry Pi SSD. So this is the Raspberry Pi branded SSD, not the fastest one in the world, but it's the one that's guaranteed to work. Everything should work, to be fair. We have the different sizes. So we have the 2240 or 2230, I think this one is, 2242, 2260, and 2280. This one, compared to the Raspberry Pi 500, does have the threaded holes. So if you look at this one here, hopefully that's showing up okay. We don't have any threaded holes, so nothing would work on this. You would have to take this board out, buy the threaded thing yourself, put it underneath to be able to do it. You would then have to wire up these things individually, whereas this one, everything's already wired up. All you would have to do, I'm going to screw this out actually. I do have an SSD somewhere. I'm going to go find it and try and fit it here to see if it fits okay. This is the SSD I have. I put it in here because I use it on my mobile phone and because it's always out with me. If it falls and it's in this, it should be okay. So this is a much longer SSD. That should be a 2280. So I'm going to try and just fit it in that slot, screw it down and see if it does work. This to me looks like a thumb screw, so you don't actually need a bit to open it. It is going to be a bit fiddly, but yeah, it's definitely a thumb screw. It's possible. I'm going to use a bit just because my fingers are a bit fat and I don't want to damage anything. Yeah, quite a long one as well. See, I just lost it down there and it's magnetized. So to remove this one, all I'm going to do is wiggle it slightly left and right until it comes up. Put that to one side, then try and fit this one. I'm going to push that one in, wiggle it just the same, push it in. That seems to fit perfectly with the 2280 slot. It does have a ridged area at the bottom, which means that you put that part under the SSD and then the SSD will sit on that section there and then you can screw it in. So don't just screw it in from the top directly. So you put both of them in at once and use the SSD arch here at the end to catch the screw, so that way it sits, the weight is on that and it doesn't put any pressure anywhere else. There we go. SSD fits perfectly. Now I'm not going to boot with this drive because I don't want to go reinstalling everything, but I'm just showing you guys how easy it would be if you wanted to upgrade from your 256GB SSD that comes with the Raspberry Pi 500 Plus to whatever other size this supports. That's how easy it is. Next, I want to remove the cooling pad just to see how much cooling paste or cooling whatever is under there. I might want to add some, I might leave it the same. So that's my next step. So on this one, I only seem to have two screws, one on the left here, one on the right. And to remove it, what I did before, I simply lifted the back up slightly. Oh, this one comes away a lot easier actually. This is actually a much better design as well, because if you look at the previous model, it doesn't have that black shielding at the back. So the weight could actually be on the ports themselves, or it could be touching the ports all the time. Whereas this one, the weight is on the shielding and I can simply lift away quite easy. It doesn't seem to have any issues lifting away. I don't think I'll bother changing the cooling pad for this one because as you can see, it has a nice indentation there, which tells me it's making very good contact. This board on top again is a Raspberry Pi 500, the original one, and the board at the bottom, the one at the back in my case, is going to be the Raspberry Pi 500 Plus. Very few differences here. Number one being from the left hand side, the keyboard ribbon cable has now been moved from the right. So the keyboard ribbon cable was here, which was this location here. That's now been moved to the left side here. They already had a section here for it, so I'm guessing that they designed this board with the 500 Plus in mind because that's just massively convenient to be able to shift it over there. Secondly, they have the shielding at the top. I think the shielding is a good idea so we don't have to put any extra weight on the ports. Thirdly, they've obviously added here the actual M.2 NVMe slot to put your SSD into. So they already had the sizes here, they already had the holes, but in here they put the screw holes and they put the port itself so you can plug in directly. I like the new design. The only thing I did wish for them to do extra was use the same cooler and everything, make the board thicker at the back here somewhere, and somewhere next to the cooler, the only addition that I would want to see here, and again this is personal to me, I'm not saying they have to do this, but I would want to see some cooling fan cutout area somewhere where I could stick a tiny fan powered from a header on here or from a USB port and be good to go. All in all, I think this is a good upgrade. It is going to cost $200 at launch. I don't know how much it's going to cost in pounds yet. It might be £200, but I'm thinking more along the 170, 180 pounds, but I have no idea. They simply said £200. So as soon as I know more, I'll let you guys know more. You can go onto my website to check out the specs. You can go onto ronstechhub.com or click that link in the description to go directly to the page where this stuff is. So the only thing left for me to do now is to put these back together. I'm going to take that SSD back out. I don't need that one in here. I'm going to put the original SSD back in. You don't need to use a screwdriver for this part. I just prefer to because my hands are a bit big, so I don't want to damage anything. Rock left and right again. Gently pull out, pull that down, put this back in. Rock left and right to put that back in. Push down. I'm going to use the arch in the SSD itself. If I can get it, my fingers are just so huge. So I've screwed these down. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to plug the ribbon cable back in. Keyboard needs to be like this. And I remember the ribbon cable coming off like this. So it's going to be a bit of a gymnastic thing here. So put the ribbon cable back in. Just make sure it's lined up and flush nicely. Then I'm going to pull that black cable down, lay this down. And luckily for us, with the Raspberry Pi 500, the original one, there's nothing for us to do other than to make sure everything lines up and click it back in place because it's only being held together by clips. So squeeze there first. To be fair, you can start anywhere, but I wanted to start at the hardest point, which I thought was going to be where the LEDs lined up here. Yeah, all the keys are moving okay. Everything feels fine still. Perfect. So that's how you open Raspberry Pi 500. That's how you put it back together. Now for the 500 plus, what do I need to do here? I need to put the cooling pad back on, which is here. As I said, I'm going to leave that cooling pad on there. I don't need to change that one. This lines up much better than the Pi 500 as well. There's no guesswork in this one. Because it has the lip here for the black guard, I simply put the lip on the black guard like that. And then this section lines up with the one in the middle. So there's nowhere else for it to go but there. So all I need to do now is to screw that down and I'm good to go. This one only takes 2 screws versus the 4 for the previous one. So one here on the right, one here on the left. There we go. All I need to do now is to put the keyboard back on, ribbon cable it, and screw it back together. As I said, the only thing I want to see here is some cooling fan cutout somewhere. I think there is a bit of space, but they would have to make the keyboard thicker. Some people don't want that. I'm just saying this is something I personally want. So at some point, what I might do is on my 500, the original one, I might cut out a section somewhere and stick like a 50mm fan somewhere to see if it works, and then eventually get to do this one as well, because having an SSD means I can do the projects I want to do, which is long running, potentially overheating stuff. Some ideas I have for this one already are optical character recognition, so I'm probably going to want to add some cooling. Now, to be fair, you could just stick a fan here and that will blow air through it, but I'll probably do a few tests to see how well that works temperature wise if I get to that stage. I think the only other thing left for me to do as Raspberry Pis is to compare the power draw. I'm making the assumption that the new one is going to draw a tiny bit more power because it has RGB. It's probably going to be negligible, but I still want to compare it just to see what it is. There is a QR code at the back of this keyboard, which I'm guessing if you open it, scan it, you might be able to buy the replacement directly from the Raspberry Pi company. The keyboard goes down like this, so I'm going to put it on its head, plug the ribbon cable in like so, and then this one I only need to push down on the sides. It's going to be a bit tricky for me again. Push on the left first, then push on the right, then I go back to the left, go back to the right until there's absolutely no movement when pushing left and right. There we go. So that should be all right. I'm going to fold it exactly how it was folded before, which was just like that. Just double check. Yep, that looks all good. Everything seems lined up. Make sure the edges are okay before I seal it. Yep, feels all right. So going around, as you can see, there are no obviously large gaps. So all I need to do now is to clip, 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 clip. Can't feel any gaps, can't see any gap. Final step is to screw this back together. Hopefully it boots and I didn't short anything out or damage anything. And there we have it, the 500, Raspberry Pi 500 and the 500 Plus all put back together. My next video is probably going to be testing the power draw of both of them while they're under stress. Thanks for watching, stay tuned.